So, relating to a topic that's come up a little bit, and this morning one of you approached me and asked me to address this topic a little bit. You know, I've talked about this a little bit before, the topic of faith or the topic of trust. We have to make it clear that trust and faith are kind of similar topics. In a sense, you could say, when we, what can we trust in? Like most people are thinking, well, I trust God. Okay, well, that's a good affirmation. Some of us, but not all of us, say, I trust myself. I mean, some of us go, oh, no, man, no way. Not after the things I've created in my life. But most of us don't trust everyone else. Most of us can say we trust God, maybe all of us. But, hopefully all of us, but certainly, most of us. And a lot of us trust ourselves, but some not. But almost none of us really can say we trust every other person. Every single one of them. And what we do is we start to, use what's called discernment, and we justify it. Well, now you can't trust everyone, Michael. That's a bit naive. So it gets a little bit tricky because without, this concept of faith, you can't trust. And without trust, you will not see healthy results in your life. In other words, we've all learned to justify the fact that we have what we call discernment, but decision that some people can't be trusted. And we think, well, if I build up enough case against them, then other people will agree that they can't be trusted, and then I don't feel so bad. See? They are a jerk. Everybody agrees. They can't be trusted. I have a whole group that say, how men are. How this person is. How that type of person. All these, but they're just judgments again. So imagine that God is saying, and it is, and Jesus taught us this too. When he says, don't say you love God and hate your neighbor. By hate your neighbor, you can go, well, I don't viscerally hate them. I just don't trust them as far as I could throw them. But that still means the same thing. So use that example that you can't say that you love God while still distrusting any single human being. And that sounds kind of harsh. You're telling us, yes I am, he says, that through people you're having your relationship with God. Because God isn't like here right now. You're not having a conversation with God. You're not sitting there going, God, and having a dialogue. You want some tea? It's not sitting there. People are. So to know how we're doing with God, we will learn that by how we do with each other. And that seems like a really screwy way to test. That's a terrible litmus test. We go, well, God, you don't understand. That's unfair. People are messed up. I love you, but don't use, people as the barometer, so to speak, the measure of how I love God, because I love God. But people are messed up. And we're learning, and God tried to tell us this in many generations and through many prophets, that our relationship with God is actually mirrored in others. And most of us can't accept or believe that. All right, if that's too much to believe, then let's try this. The three relationships you can have are with God, self, and others. If you don't believe that your relationship with God is being reflected through others, then how about at least accepting that your relationship with yourself, your opinions of yourself, are going to be reflected in your relationships with other people? Some people still would say, no, because I like myself. It's just people I don't like. But you can't keep getting away with that. Well, you can try. But do we want to go with that, or do we want to actually hear the truth? And the truth is, we have to learn to have faith. And it'll sound kind of fundamental Christian, in the Lord, okay? But I want to have faith in God, all right? But do you see that? Can you measure that faith? Well, yeah, I pray to God and I trust God. Yeah, but when things don't happen, you still get mad. So the faith isn't really that long lasting. So, be honest about it. So maybe that one is too invisible for me to check out. How about my relationship with myself? We have to have faith in a relationship with God, and faith with self, and faith with others. But clearly there are things we can't trust. And what we have to learn to do is know the difference. You're not asked to trust untrustworthy things. You're asked to trust in the trustworthy parts of people, and that's your out. All you have to do is learn to recognize. I may not be able to get it to materialize right now, in this moment, but I have faith that every single human being has a spark of God. I may not get to see it. I may not know how to bring it out of them. And who is incapable? Me. Instead of going, well, if only they would behave in a way that I like, then I would see the divinity. Well, that's not divinity. That's control again. Let's just say everybody's annoying. Just start there instead of going, well, most people I like enough to start working on the ones I don't. Just start with everybody's annoying at one point or another. There are beautiful people. They play their music too loud. It's always going to be something. So start there. Everybody potentially can be annoying. We know that. But can you accept? And I'm saying to start there, not to be negative. I'm saying start there because then I say, now I've hit bottom and I can't go any lower. Once I've said everybody's annoying, you can't go much further than that. So now from here, it's only up. And from here, I am going to also work on affirming that even though people can be annoying, it's not so annoying that I cannot affirm the light in them. I just call it annoying. It's off. It's something I don't know how to wrap my mind around, no matter who it is or what they've done. And people on earth have done some horrible things. But it's a fact that if someone could have brought out of that person perfect, pure light of God, they could not have done the things they did. It's impossible for someone to bring out their light and then act hurtfully. It's impossible. So what happens is instead of choosing which people to like and not like, that's just human. See it, own it, and then choose to let that go. Try something else. Anybody can sit there and pick who they like and don't like, but that's called control. I'm still discerning what I think is healthy and not healthy. I'm going to go one step further, we can say to ourselves. I'm going to go one step further. I'm going to do the spiritual thing and say, although people can act annoying and so on, all beings have a spirit spark, God presence inside of them. And I'm going to do what I can to see it. When I can't see it, it's called losing faith. Yeah. See, faith is not just this thing we think, have faith in the Lord. Because if you could see God right now and say, okay, God, let me make sure I got this. I'm supposed to have faith in you. I promise you, God would not say yes. God would say yes, and you will demonstrate that in your faith with each other. And then you'll go, well, that's not fair because people are, and then you lost it again. God is saying, you cannot tell me you have faith in me if you don't have faith in each other. Well, that's not true because people behave. No, wait a minute. If you have faith in me, God, then you'll have faith that I created everyone with light in them. Don't mess with me. God's going to go, I know you better than you know yourself. And I know what tactics you're going to play here. Yeah, but constantly. And I'm telling you, this is God, God's going to say, I'm telling you, if you really do have faith, then you would say, God, isn't this weird? That no matter how people act, it doesn't change the fact that God put light in them. If you really trust God, then you'll be able to say that. That's how perfect this is. That's how simple this is. Now, if I have faith that God is, I am, we are. That's the law. God is love. That means I am love. And I would feel more of that if it weren't for others. Has to become God is, I am, and we are. And you can say, you're still allowed and encouraged to say, yeah, but gosh, people, just say it, get it out. And then come back to the truth. People are annoying. People can be hurtful. Isn't that weird that people can be so hurtful, but still in others there is a perfect light? I am determined to see that light. When Helen Schuckman wrote A Course in Miracles and started, channeling A Course in Miracles, she was going to work again. She was part of a very prestigious board in a hospital in New York. And she was, off to the meeting. She's with her friend and she said, oh God, you know what? I hate these meetings. I hate these meetings. Everybody's just always yelling and judging, and it's a hospital, so one group will say, well, we want a motion that we get a raise. We want to get grants for our wing of the hospital. Someone else will say, well, what makes you think you should get it? We should get it. We've been here longer. Yes, but our disease is worse than your disease, and they just fight. She said, I hate it. See, it's okay to start with that. However, she said, there's got to be another way besides the bickering and the ego stuff. And that means like the whole universe froze, waiting for it. Wait for it. A human's almost ready for a miracle. She said there must be another way. It's still not happening yet. The miracle is poised. The universe, all the angels go, and there's this like, whoa, freezes to create something new if we stay the course. Her friend, her partner said, I think you're right. And I am determined to find that other way with you. In that moment, the miracle came about. Because two people, two or more gathered with one holy purpose, to find the presence of God even though it wasn't there. Now, you have to understand, it's when we're communicating, we still have issues, and they still had issues. They didn't walk in and go, hi everyone, guess what? We prayed, and so something amazing is going to happen. You're all going to be nicer. That's not what happened. What happened was they went in and everybody was still annoying. But they responded differently. Someone would say, well, I want a motion that we get a grant for our wing. You know what they did? They go, you're probably right. Why don't we try and look into that? They're like, is it really? Nobody's ever been validated. Then they would say, well, okay, well, thank you. Then somebody else goes, well, if they get it, we should get it. You're right. Well, I wonder if there's a way that we can get you a raise too, or a grant too. Validation, not ego validation, but validation, love and support. I've done this many times. But it's not always going to be just like you say some initial words and everything just goes peachy. It might, but sometimes people still will behave the way people behave. But if you go, fine, here I was praying on the way in, hoping for a miracle, but apparently you people are undeserving. Then that means you lost faith in them again. Do you see what I mean by faith? You're not holding the truth that they have good in them if somebody has the guts to bring it out. But people don't have the guts. Now, if you don't have the guts to pull it out of them, if you don't have the wherewithal, what it means is nothing bad. It just means you're hurt. That's all it means. You reacted, you ticked me off, now I reacted, and I didn't maintain that thing I was praying for. But you know why? Because I'm too raw. I'm too triggered. I'm not healed enough to handle this. If that happens to you, own it. Gosh, dang it. I wish I could have just hung in there a little bit longer. Just see it. And then know that you can do better next time. All the stuff that we used to hear and preach and recite from Bible and so forth, that's all gone. Because if you can't live it, it's all worthless. The words are just absolutely worthless if you don't live them. Which is why Jesus made that point that I've come to fulfill this material, not to talk about it. People talk about these things all the time. Have faith in the Lord. And the Lord says have faith in each other. And we have a rebuttal. Well, no, because people are messed up. And God says, really? Then you don't have faith in me like you said you did. See how that amazing that is? Now, I think it's easier to just say the words, I have faith in the Lord. I think it's easy to say. But think about this. This is spiritual work. This is light work. So it's not as easy as saying the words. I have faith in the Lord. I trust the Lord. And yet, if God's going to turn it back on us, we're immediately going to hit the mud, driving at 100 miles an hour, and all of a sudden, boom, everything sobers up. And we go, oh my God. You mean with each other? Yes, that's right. Yes, even them. Yeah, but no, them too. All of them? Yeah. But you know what they've done? Yep. No exceptions. Anybody that we would ever try to justify as being undeserving of our trust and faith. Not in their humanness, because they're not human. They just seem like it for now. There's a spirit spark in them. But as soon as we lose that faith, as soon as we think one person's undeserving, all it has done is confirmed that there's a part in us that we still judge and find undeserving. I think everybody's deserving of love and peace and happiness except control freaks. You've just affirmed that that's how harsh you are on your thoughts about yourself as a control freak. God, you poor thing, are you all right? What do you mean, am I all right? Yeah, I'm fine. Well, because you just affirmed that control freaks are undeserving of love. Well, they are. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Are you all right? They're going to think you're nuts. But you know what I'm saying there? Because you've just said, I'm willing to forgive anybody of anything, which means all parts of myself except that one. Oh my God. You see what I'm saying? It confirms there's a part in you that you think is so dark and undeserving. I don't think that. Yes, you do. It was confirmed when you pointed it out in another. Look at the words. Pointed it out, outwards in another. It's called projection. I pointed it out in them. That didn't mean it wasn't in me. I tried to just get it out of me by putting it on another person. So the concept, isn't that cute? Yeah. So this concept of faith and trust sounds so sublime. I trust in the Lord, but it becomes a psychological process. It becomes something that demands things of us in a gentle way. Demand meaning it just reflects the law to us. Like the Sufi are saying, there is no other. So what we're seeing in our world is all coming from inside of ourselves. If you love, it confirms you're loving yourself more. Forgive, it shows you're forgiving yourself more. You see? Patience, oh, it's kind of cool. That means that as I look into the world, I can see how I treat myself inside. The things I don't like and the things I don't want to look at out there, ooh, those are secrets that I have inside. Parts of me I don't want to look at. So this isn't all easy, obviously, but it is a necessity. It can be easy. The only thing that makes it not seem easy is our resistance. Because deep down we know this. Deep down we know that as I see others, I see myself. That's where that came from. Judge, and you are already judged. And people went, you know what that means? That means if I judge, I'm now judging someone. That means God's looking at me going, oh, you are in so much trouble when you get home. And that's not what it means. Look at the wording. Judge, and ye are judged. Means, as soon as I judge you, it confirms I've already judged myself. That's what it means. It's more like a psychological process. Judge and ye shall doesn't mean boom and the wrath of the Lord is upon you. It means more like, oh, poor thing. Judge and ye are judged. It's that. It's, oh, poor thing. Because as soon as you judge, you confirm that you don't like yourself in one area or another. What would you like to do about that? I would like to forgive. I would love to be more patient with myself in that area. How can we do that? How can we make you feel safe enough to work on that area of judgment about yourself? What is it? Is it your past? Your failed parenting somewhere? Is it behaviors? Is it, oh, I said naughty things somewhere along the line? What would you like to do about that? You don't just go, I'm going to forgive it now. Done. Let's look at that like a process. Sit with it. It could be a thing or it can be a pattern. A thing like, well, I once said such and such. But it can also be a pattern. I have this tendency to get angry when. Now do we want to work on the thing, the reaction, or the pattern of anger? And then take the pattern of anger, look behind that. You know what's behind that? Insecurity. So I can just say I yelled at someone, or I can say I have this tendency towards anger. I want to forgive myself for yelling, but also the anger that caused me to yell. Then, gosh, underneath the anger, I'm a bit insecure. So when people, whatever it happens to be, when people say, you're not an attractive person, that's when I flare up. But it's not the anger, it's the insecurity. Really? Well, so why do you think that? And look, being able to look at ourselves and say, wow, I learned to evaluate my day based on how I looked. You know, whatever could go wrong, my friends would say, well, but at least you're still good looking. You know, okay. All F's on my report card, but you're cute. Oh, well then okay. You know, your parents are, you know, whatever they do to all your other siblings, but they thought you were pretty. So now it became a thing for you. That's my safety. So you have to be willing to breathe and say, you know, take a piece of paper, write it down. Everything is based on my looks. Burn it and say goodbye to it. And then don't brush your hair today. Go out and look however you look. Just that one time, I'm not saying always. Because then you might tempt us to be scared and then have to forgive you. No. I'm kidding. But I'm saying, can you find balance? Can you go out without caring what you look like? It's okay to look nice, but I'm saying the attachment to it, put it to the test now and then. You know, I just on that topic, I mean, I teach, I stand here, you know, and teach like this. I put on a decent shirt and do a talk. But all through the week, I just wear a t-shirt, usually swim trunks, and put my hair in a ponytail, and that's me. But once in a while, there's somebody that gets funny about it. Oh, well, I guess you're just kind of being casual today, like I'm not allowed to be. I mean, people have actually been offended by how I look when I just put my hair in a ponytail, because I don't think about it. I do this to be respectful. I put on a decent shirt, but I don't really think about it that much. So people are going to be funny, and you have to just go, well, I see that. That's a mirror of something to reflect, to see and release, and then be yourself. Find balance. Anything that was an attachment, that is only as long as you have money. Some of us are brought up with success being that, you know, that main point, that proof that we're okay. And we have to say, I'm going to trust and have faith that I'm a good person no matter what my finances look like. Well, as long as your children like you, no, I'll toss that out too. Nothing outside matters. What matters is the presence of God. I feel that love for God as God, that love for God as me, and that love for God in others. And it doesn't matter what I look like or how much money I have, but then that also means it doesn't matter what you look like or how much money you have. There are so many times, everybody in this room has had at least one moment where we saw how ridiculous it is to judge someone. You might have judged somebody by the way they look, and then they proved to be an amazing person. More loving, more sharing, more forgiving, and they had very little to give, and you watched them give. And then sat there going, you know, wow, I should be so kind. So we can't really discern by the world like that. But, you know, there's this concept of faith is this faith in things unseen. So what we've learned from some programs that came out in this world is faith, forget that word. Instead, just think of it as this. It's law of manifestation. All you need to do is set your mind to create something, affirm that you're going to get it, and get it. That's their version of faith. Stuff. God tells us faith is faith in things unseen. How we ended up creating programs, you know, multi-million-dollar industries out of affirming and getting stuff as being an act of faith. I could only tell you that's just dysfunctional. Because it isn't about, I mean, it's very opposite. God says faith means having faith in things unseen. Other people are saying faith is getting stuff. Total opposites. But we don't want to exaggerate it and say faith in things unseen means that even when things are falling apart, you just go, well, I guess at least I'll have faith in God, unseen God. It's okay to have stuff, but have faith in your deservability, which is it's invisible. Have faith in your light and your deservability. I can't see your deservability, but I have faith in it. Now I can manifest prosperity for you. I can manifest healing for you. But not because I had faith in the healing physical. I had faith in your deservability. Do you see the difference? If we really want to understand the laws of God, and if we really want to understand the power of faith, truth, trust, everything starts with seek first the kingdom. Seek first the consciousness of God. So when you see someone who's sick, you don't just do like a a boom shakalaka boom and heal them. You are healed, or here's an herb, or that's all fine to do. But if I only do things to help you heal, it's still the world of doing. We say we're looking for being instead of doing. To do that, to get to the point of being instead of doing, to accomplish, to achieve that, it means I'm going to know the value of you as a person. It is impossible for the God in you to be sick. You brought your sick self to the room. That's okay. I'm not healthy and you're sick. This is a human belief that we have. We all have that someone can be sick. I don't shame you for it and I don't shame myself. I just acknowledge, oh, look, you appear sick. But then shift into, isn't that funny? How you can appear to be sick and it's impossible? The real you? So my job is not to manipulate the physical you into not being sick, nor even just trying to affirm it in some manipulative way, but rather to know in my mind that when you come to me with an illness or lack of prosperity issues or whatever it is, when you come to me with something that doesn't reflect the presence of God, it means you're saying, hi there, would you give me a hand? Sure, what do you need? An adjustment or a massage or an herb? Or no. What do you need? I need someone to see who I really am. That's what they're saying. When someone comes to you and they act like a complete jerk, selfish, hurtful behavior, I know what it looks like, but you're supposed to be having faith in things unseen. And that's a tall order. But they couldn't be in front of you if God didn't think it were possible for you. You can go, oh, not this type of person. I don't mind an occasional, someone needing a few dollars in the grocery line. You brought me a rude person. Be able to go inside your mind and go, wow, good one. Good one, God. Because I know the rules are, you couldn't have put them in front of me if I were not capable in at least attempting to go that direction. So fine. You can even say it with attitude. Fine. I'd really rather not have this type of person in front of me. They wear the same cologne as my ex. Oh, you just, you really threw that one at me, didn't you? The cologne they used to spill all over my nice dresser. So I used to smell it every day. So it's something that visceral. You can be all attitude around it, and it's okay. God doesn't mind that. God's just going, and? Well, and they wear the same cologne, and? They even kind of look like them, and? By the way, I wouldn't have picked somebody that looks just like your ex that you hate, but that's okay. And what are you going to do about it? And you're allowed to say, not today. I refuse to see the light in another soul. There's no judgment. You're already judged by yourself, but God's going to go, okay. We'll give you some time. We'll bring them around again next week or next month or next year. But they will be back because the they is you. That's okay. Need some time. But remember, we can also say, all right, I'm going in. I'm going to do what I can, I'm going into battle. And the battle is with yourself. So inward you go. And you just say, God, be with me, please. Because, I can make light of it, but some of them are very challenging tests. So I can say, God, this is really hard. This person reminds me of the one that did everything harmful. They harmed my children. They harmed my life. They ruined me. I had to start from nothing, raise my kids by myself, work 3 jobs to be able to do it. I mean, there's stuff like that. And nobody's telling you it's supposed to be just easy. Of course it's challenging. But you're allowed to say, please be with me, help me. I know you're here, but I don't see you in that person. Show me how to see you. And it doesn't mean that person, like literally in some sci-fi movie, is going to shake and an old look falls to the ground and there's this being of radiant light with wings and a halo. And you go, oh my God, it worked. The least you're looking for, hoping for, is just a shift in feeling. Even if, and it's going to sound kind of harsh, but even if I just hate them a little less, something major has happened. So please, just give yourself a break, man. Go for just that. Just even if you feel a little less hurt, hate, anger, whatever it is, that is already a miracle. And my choice, like out of 100% of what I could have shifted, if I only shift 10%, that 10% is enough for a miracle. It's like that faith of a mustard seed. Just that much faith, and I can shift everything. But I'll start there. And it's so amazing because that one drop is so potent and powerful. For that alone, I can win the lottery. For that alone, I could manifest healthier relationships. Now, if I do more than 10%, God, sky's the limit. But just that little bit can already bring me major shifts. But the problem is we don't have faith in that either. We don't have faith that little shift was enough to add up to something. So, whenever you find yourself thinking, when you find yourself, it's this called discernment, but be careful. Discernment still means my head's likely in the way. That's different than inspiration. How do you know when you're in the presence of God and whether you're discerning properly? Because when you're in God, you feel inspired. The word in spirit. You feel inspired. You feel up. You feel lifted. When you sit there just kind of with that furrowed, looking at people, fault finding, it's complete egotist. It's all it is. It's just the egotist inside. It's the ego. It's devil. It's evil. It may sound exaggerated to even call it evil, but that's what it is. It's of the ego. It's my veiled thinking, evil. My veiled thinking. I'm not seeing clearly when I see someone and find fault. The opposite of faith is fault. So do you have faith in a person? Can you see them and see good light in that person? Or do you say, well, I would accept, and you find fault? One is the tree of judgment that sends us to hell, meaning karmic life. And one of them is the tree of life, the one of forgiveness that brings us home to heaven. And we make this choice every day. So people have misinterpreted the whole concept of what faith is. It's only for God. And if I lack faith, I'm a bad person. So please remember this. You're asked to have faith in everyone. Because some of us think, well, Michael is saying just only trust some people. No, that's not what I'm saying. Trust everyone. But I didn't say trust everything about everyone. Trust the trustworthy parts. So, if you ask me something of me, and you can tell that I'm coming from a place of inspiration and I bring you something that you've asked me to bring you, then you can trust that trustworthy part. If you ask something of me, no matter what it is, and I react with hurt, anger, whatever it happens to be, you're not having to trust that untrustworthy part of me. Do you see the difference? Look for God and trust the God when it's coming through. When you don't see it, don't say, well, now I have an excuse to not trust them. Your job is now to help me bring that part through. And you can only do as much as you can. So trust the trustworthy parts of people. Trust the parts that seem loving and kind. The other parts are not to be trusted, but they're not to be hated either. They're awaiting a miracle. And you don't have to make them behave differently. All you have to do is a little secret in your mind, a little process quietly in your mind. I see that they're not coming from God. God, how would you help me to bring that part out? Do what you can. It comes out or it doesn't. I'm going to have faith that it's happening. If I did my job to affirm that it's there, even if you don't respond to it, that's just the way it is, and I accept that I still did my work. I don't have to say, well, you're a person that tends to steal money. So do me a favor, hold my wallet. I'm going to prove that you're a child of God. That's foolish. And if you don't think that that's permitted in this thing I'm describing, then why did Jesus respond when he's told, jump off the cliff and the angels will catch you? It's like he's saying, yeah, they probably will, but that's just kind of stupid, isn't it? Why do I need to do that? Why do I need to push fate, put things to the test like that? It's ridiculous. So he's saying, I could jump, but why? So you can trust somebody to hold your wallet when you know they steal, but why? Why risk it? Why put them at risk? Because if they steal from you, they have more karma. You're harming them when you trust their untrustworthy parts. So don't jump into a relationship like that either. Not just off a cliff, but don't just leap into a relationship either. Listen, I've been lonely for hours now. And we seem like we're hitting it off, and so on and so on. So maybe this will work out. No. And then blame them when it doesn't go well. Just trust. Trust in the God in everyone. How do I know God's in everyone? Don't trust until you have brought it out. You, not they. Don't trust until you have found a way to bring that forward. Samson, biblical Old Testament Samson, strong faith in that dude. The things he accomplished, faith in God. He fights off armies of evil people because he had faith. But he was a Nazarene. He was from this particular group. Nazarenes, like Jesus was also from the Nazarenes. But he was a Nazarene. And the Nazarenes had their hair cut long and sort of tapered into a point slightly in the back. It was a certain custom they had. But Samson was so attached to my hair. It's my hair that gives me this power. What it meant was the fact that I'm a Nazarene gives me special privileges. But the symbol of being a Nazarene was the hair. You follow? It wasn't actually where he went, I have a feeling my strength comes from my hair. Like that, what was that, kind of like some bizarre dream you had and then you started believing it? It wasn't his hair. It was the hair as a symbol of a Nazarene. So he was saying, I am a Nazarene and that gives me strength and power. Great. Because the Nazarenes were devoted to God and God gives you power. The problem is he forgot it was God and it was the title Nazarene, and the title Nazarene was proven in his haircut. So when the enemy cuts his hair, he's like, I have no power. And it's a good example of us. False power in false things. The presence of God in me gives me strength and gives me faith. The presence of my belief of the presence of God in you also gives me my faith to do what I do. Any of us, I say I. So whether you're an athlete, whether you're a speaker, whether you're a mom, dad, the power comes from God and we become supernatural versions. We become goddess versions of all these characters, moms, dads, and whomever. Daniel put his faith in God. They throw him in a lion's pit and the lions don't attack him. But it's not because he judges the lions as evil and fends them off. Daniel was learning to love the hell out of them. The lions and the people. He was choosing to not be hateful. Now, Peace Pilgrim, I don't know if you're familiar with Peace Pilgrim, but an amazing woman. Her life, 50s, 60s, 70s, she was known for wandering the countryside, the world, and just speaking about love. Well, she had the same thing that Daniel had. They taught, and A Course in Miracles says, that when you truly love enough, you're already immune to stuff. Still, something's going to happen now and again, but you don't have to fear because the love is so present. You don't have to be as worried about stuff. Gold is attracted to you. Prosperity is attracted. Things might still happen, but it just doesn't happen as much and it doesn't affect you the same. A woman like Peace Pilgrim can say, well, she wanders the streets, just on her feet, no money on her. She was arrested for vagrancy now and again. She didn't say, well, wait, how could you arrest me? I'm doing God's work. She said, okay, cuff me in front or back. And then they would haul her in. And it would be like some Michael Landon episode of, one of any number of his shows about God. They throw her in jail, and when the jailers come to finally, post bail or whatever, somebody's going to let her out, they would find her with all the women in the jail singing holy songs. I mean, it was like, like a TV show. Like, are you serious? This stuff really happens? Yes. But how could she get them to do that? Because she said, when you see the good in people, and she adds, and there is good in people, then you can evoke it. And you also won't be as afraid of people because you're so busy evoking good, they start responding to it. Man, that's immunity. That's showing like, I'm not trying to do on the outside. I'm holding presence. And it just happens to attract more good. I've shared recently just the number of years on tour and working the way. If it hadn't been for God, there's no way that a body could have withstood what I was doing all these years. But God's presence. And we need to manifest it in every way possible. Every, relationship, every job. But remember that when stuff does happen, she goes to jail, Peace Pilgrim. Jesus is arrested and crucified and so on. These are nothing but tests, and this is important, a test of your faith. You've heard the term, my faith is being tested, right? And we usually attribute that to God. God is testing my faith. God's like, this is amongst you people. I already hold faith in who you are. You don't. So it's not actually God going, who's on the list today who needs faith, needs tested? Ooh, you've been naughty. That's Santa Claus that does that. That's not God. God can only see your goodness. And if you want to be like God or close to God, then you have to be able to see only goodness. It doesn't mean deny the behaviors. But it means when people do misbehave, learn to affirm. They know not what they do. Jesus also said, be as wise as serpents, but as gentle as doves. It means, come on. See through the stuff. See the game, but don't buy into it. But see it. And if somebody's rushing up to harm you, what can I do? Oh, look at that illusion. That person's harming that. Look, they're beating them up. Isn't that fun that that's an illusion? Tackle the person and make them stop. It's all right. The next right thing. It's called righteous action. But righteous action means actions that come from right consciousness. How do I know if it's right consciousness? When you don't know, do the next right thing. Just do the next thing that seems to bring the most good possible. And in some cases, that'll be restraining someone. And as I'm winding up, King David went through hell, a dark night of the soul, a couple times in his lifetime. And King David went through a period. There's a reason why he wrote, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, because he was going through hell. But he takes this whole thing. Now remember, that's you and I. That's us going through divorces and having sicknesses, having loved ones die. It's like learning to affirm that even though stuff happens, he's saying, isn't it amazing that you are with me? And that you're walking me down, right down the center, into light and truth. If I get distracted, it's me that got distracted. And he says, but isn't it amazing that even when I'm in the midst of people that hate me, you've already set a table for me. You've already set a table, like a feast. So it's kind of like saying, I understand how life works. The world is constantly a test reflecting to us our weakest points, and they go after that, waiting for us to react. One reason, because the ego wants to destroy us. But another reason is, it's reflecting my weak points so I can strengthen them. So even when people act their worst, I can make it into my best. And that's called perception. I choose to see it this way. These are tests. Forgive them. They don't know what they do. These are tests that they've been set up for. They're blind to their lessons. They're blind to my lessons. But I, for one, am choosing to stay on track. I get it. I'm going to just stay focused and do my work here. I choose to wake up. It's not easy because hurtful things. And whatever the weaknesses. It could be you pride yourself in being a good mom. That'll be the thing that someone's going to go after, including your own children. You have to know you're a good mom. You have to just know it in here. Even mistakes made. I recentered myself and I'm okay. I am a good mom. Not I was always, that's the past. I am. I am a good partner. I am a good, whatever we are, employer, employee, whatever. I am. And if I'm not, let me recalibrate again and become that thing. Learning to be the presence of God, not just see it in others, but learning to be that presence. This world, it's gonna put us to the test. But what do you do with tests? You're supposed to pass them. You don't go to the DMV, can I have one of the tests so that I can fail it? It doesn't make sense. I want to not have a license. We take tests so that we pass them. We take tests so that we pass them and go to new levels. I go and take tests in 3rd grade so I can go to 4th grade. 8th grade so I can go to 9th grade. Spiritual tests so that I can rise in consciousness. I can graduate from being a human being, doing, to a human being. From a human being to God and Goddess. God, Goddess to the oneness with God itself. When there's no answers to my tests other than holy answers. So to me, it's quite an amazing thing, guys. Just stay the course, watch yourself, and remember that when people are doing things, they are tests. And the test is, can you still affirm? the presence of God. I'm not asking you to sit and make believe in your mind, okay, I saw that person physically attack another, but I'm going to pretend that they just ran at them and dropped flowers over their head. That's kind of silly. It's kind of like just a denial. I'm saying, don't pretend it didn't happen. I'm saying that we should say, despite it happening. Not it didn't happen, despite it happening or seeming to happen. Isn't it funny that that person has holiness inside of them? Whew. I can't see it, but I know it's there. How do I know? It's called faith. As soon as I couldn't see it, it becomes an act of faith to believe that it's still there. I don't want to have any acts of faith. Yes, you do. Everybody does. But there'll be a day when you don't need an act of faith anymore, because there'll be a knowingness. Not a faith in things unseen, a knowingness, where the unseen becomes. And then we're all free. It's all just, all this stuff blows away. We're such a legal-oriented society. Look at all the contracts and paperwork. You go to a doctor and you have to fill out so many papers, you become sicker just having to fill out all these papers. Papers that protect them from your attacks. I think it's sad. If I were an MD, I would retire or quit, because I wouldn't want everybody constantly attacking me and making me responsible for whatever, isn't my thing. People could walk in and say, I mean, I've done that. You go to a dentist or, whatever. If they're trying to extract a tooth, just give the tooth up. Tell the tooth, I'm good, instead of afraid. You go to a chiropractor, they're going to adjust your back. You can tense up. It's just not a good idea. It's better to just relax, let go. Let them adjust your back. Oh, but I'm scared. Okay, then tell them, I'm scared. Let me take a breath. Okay, go ahead. Worst thing that could happen is they're going to kill you. Okay. But if they did, you were trusting in a child of God as being holy and deserving of your trust, which means you would be one with God. I know it sounds like a strange analogy I used, but it's a point. To be able to say, trust. So when you're a person, say like Elvis Presley, you have all this money. Who's your friends? Who can you trust to be your friends? Are they there because of the fame, the prestige, the money, the girls? What are they there for? I don't know. And you won't know sometimes. Do your kids love you just because you're their mom or dad? Is it just because you give them money or whatever it is? Nobody's going to know, because there's little attachments and little things involved. Conditions, it's called. You're not going to really ever be completely clear in this world of conditions. Unconditional love means I'm going to love you despite conditions. Unconditional love. We keep looking for it in people. And if you're a good person, if you're a good doctor, if you're a good counselor, if you're a good parent. I remember there was, a couple of decent parents in my neighborhood. I tried to hang out at their house as much as I could. Now I feel a little bit funny about having done that, because I think they were probably like, oh, God, again. But I had such a screwed up life, it felt so relieving to go and be around nice people. Now I feel a little bit awkward about it looking back. And I have to forgive and heal that part in myself, thinking, I probably put too much pressure on those poor people. But those folks, they received gifts in heaven because they were there for me, just like you have been there for other people. But people, it's a sad thing because we're broken inside. So when we find good, we grab onto it. And that's a desperation. We can all understand that. But if you're in a position like a famous star, you don't know who your friends are. Position of parent, it's a role. You're still playing a role. And a spiritual leader, it's a role we play. And so it gets interesting because people watch your every move, and so make your moves as good as you can. And things like people hug and hello and hugs, and I have shared with you so many times what a beautiful thing affection can be. It can be very healing. But if we're all too broken, then that can become scary for some people. Everyone's looking for love, but it's the love of God. But it's also the love of God in each other. So if you find a parent, if you're a kid and you find a parent in the neighborhood that's nice, you tend to attach. If you find a spiritual leader that's a pretty decent person, you tend to attach. It's called transference. we don't just project negatives, we also transfer the positives. You're so nice. And with that goes romanticism and fantasies and scary things and confusing things. It gets really messy. And when you're in a role like this one, you have a couple of choices. And one of them can be, that's it. No hugs, no smiles, no niceness. Let's keep it all business. And there's moments when I felt that, tempted to do that, which is also a temptation to be faithless. Do you get what I just said there? That you can't handle, you can't. So then you can go the other extreme. Let's just be so trusting and loving. And then someone gets confused or upset or whatever, and they saw two people hug, or there's too much hugging and smiles at Unity or of Sedona or whatever. It gets weird for some people. So then you say, okay, what do you do? And that's the ego. The ego wants you in a no-win situation. Don't hug because it could go badly. Hug everyone because that could go badly. So in other words, be confused. Because that's divided we fall. And that's the goal of the ego. So you have to find what works for you. For me, I have to navigate and make micro adjustments as best I can and navigate. Is it okay to smile? Is it okay to laugh? Is it okay to engage? When we have dances, there was a group here yesterday, and a visiting group from China, and they had a dance at the end. Beautiful, beautiful dance. And they're all dancing and doing this traditional Chinese thing. They ask everybody from the audience to pitch in, and they look at me and I'm, no. And they're respectfully, lovingly, Michael, come on, you're the only one not dancing with us. And this is a tradition, this is love, this is important. And no. Because if I dance, somebody's going to complain about it. And I live with that every day. Somebody having some trip about something. But I have to find my own equilibrium. I did my best to be respectful and watch and smile, but not join in this particular case. So we have to all find out what works. But please respect my choices of what works and doesn't work. And respect each other's choices. They don't do, they do. Let to each his own. And just affirm the goodness of God. And with that, then we all feel permission to come out and dance a little bit more. Okay? Each in their time, each in their right moment. Let's take a few centering breaths. Just a brief moment of meditation. Set all stuff aside. With each breath, centering more and more. With each breath. Let the sound of the music just gradually take you to a quieter and quieter and quieter place in the heart and soul. And then imagine thinking of one person that you like. One person that's nice, a friend. Someone you like. Right next to them, picture someone you are challenged with, someone you dislike or are challenged with. If you can't think of a specific person, then you can just think of a type of person. Just be honest. A person you like, a person you don't like. A type of person you like, a type that you don't like. Observe them and ask yourself what kinds of things you like about one and dislike about the other. Just be honest and name that. Describe the person in your mind. Tall, short, attractive, unattractive, whatever it is, just name it as soon as it comes to mind. And then come to grips with this. The fact that I even see you, whether I like you or don't like you, however I describe you, the fact that I even see you with my eyes means I'm not seeing you at all. I'm thinking that I'm seeing something I like, but it's an opinion. I'm thinking I see something I don't like, but it's an opinion. I think I see you as tall or short, but it's an opinion. None of it's true. Even likable things, they're not true. To see you, I have to let go of seeing. I have to let go of my opinions, my thoughts, my assumptions. And even still, it's best if it's not me that's trying, but instead, I say to you, Father, Mother, God, I am willing to give up what I think I see about this person so that you can show me what you see. How do you see this person and that person? You show me, Father, Mother, God, how you would have me see them, experience them. And let's all take a moment, let that change. Let the likable and the unlikable, let it disappear, and let something beautiful emerge. Not just something appealing to eyes, it's something beautiful emerges. Light, a feeling of love, holy presence. Almost awe-inspiring to see a person's goodness. Give that just another half minute. And then feel their gratitude. Even the people you like, feel their gratitude for being let off the hook, for having to freeze frame into something you think you like or dislike. Just feel that all falling away and their gratitude for that. They're grateful that you're allowing them to be not likable and unlikable, but rather pure, holy light. We set them free. And we too give thanks for this holy experience. And we allow it to have permanent changes within us. And so it is. Take your time. Take your time. Integrate that. It's nice to feel good, huh? Nice.